Hey YouTube, bringing you another tabletop review here on, if you can't already tell, well, this is one of my favorite movies, Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood. If you know the movie, you probably know already what gun we're talking about. Yes, 44 Magnum Smith Wesson Model 29. I have here three different 44s, and you can see the cylinders here. All cylinders are open, so the safety check all the guns. There is no loaded ammunition on this table, and that's the way I like to keep things, to be safe. Safety is always number one. Watch your muzzle direction. Be careful. So many people, I work in a gun shop, and so many people muzzle people with a firearm, and they always get the same excuse. So it's unloaded. Well, there is no such thing as an unloaded gun. Treat all firearms if they're loaded, and watch your muzzle direction. Don't ever point it at anything you don't want to destroy. Anyway, safety measures always in place. That's the first thing you should always do. Anyway, let's get to it. The 44 Magnum, the Model 29. A little bit of history on that. If you don't know who Elmer Keith is and you're a fan of the 44 Magnum, shame on you, because he was the one. Elmer Keith was the one that if it wasn't for him, we might not be sitting here with a 44 Magnum Model 29. He was cranking up loads of the 44 Special, which is around before the Magnum, up to really higher pressures, and really I don't know if he blew up some guns or if he didn't, or he was cranking up some pressures that were beyond what those frames of the guns that he had at the time were meant to take. And to show you a little bit what I'm talking about, I have a couple empty casings here. I don't know if you can see this up close, but the Magnum case here on the right and the Special case on the left. The Special case is just a little bit shorter than the Magnum casing. One of the reasons for that, I'll get into this a little bit, was during the creation of the 44 Magnum, they were worried that if guys got a hold of this Magnum cartridge and stuck it in their 44 Special revolvers, they could blow themselves up, especially if they had an older gun or a weaker gun, if it wasn't handled to take the pressures and whatnot. So what I have here is this is a Taurus. This is a Taurus Model 444 Ultralight. So it's an ultralight frame. Now this is a 44 Special, only a 44 Special. So if I take the 44 Magnum case here and I try to put this in the cylinder, it won't shut. It stops, and it won't go in all the way because it's not meant to go in there. That's what they meant by lengthening this cartridge case, so it won't seat properly into a cylinder that was meant for the 44 Special. Now it will chamber the 44 Special, just fine. If you have a 44 Magnum, obviously, goes right in there, and so will a 44 Special. No problem. Because that's what it's meant for. And now that's the beauty of owning a 44 Magnum. You can shoot the 44 Special or the Magnum. Now I personally like to shoot this 44 Special on the range, or anything I use at the range wise, for a number of reasons. The main reason for that is it's less taxing on the gun. The cylinder, especially the Smith Wessons, all Magnums, the 44 Magnum, the 357 Magnum, the cylinders on these things, the lock work in the Smith Wessons, they are only meant to take so much. And I'm not saying that you go and fire 1,000 rounds, your gun's going to blow up on you. But if you shoot a lot and this is your range gun, and you're constantly going out with the range and shooting and shooting and shooting, you're going to be taxing the cylinder, and you're going to get what they call side-to-side shake or forward-to-end shake and whatnot. I've had to do that. I've had to work on that myself, rather than sending it back and everything and taking out springs and hand stops and filing them down and trying to get replacements and oversized ones. It's a mess to get into these things and work on them. But this one here locks up just fine. It's an older one. I bought this. This is my first 29 I ever bought, with a 6-inch barrel, just like the one Dirty Harry has in the movie. Had to have it, just this. And this one particularly, I found out later on, that it was manufactured in the same year as my birthday, the same year that I was born. So that I'm hanging on to for sure. And it's the 6-inch classic barrel with the Dirty Harry special here. Of course, later I got the 8 3/8 barrel. That just had to. I saw that, and I always flirted with it a little bit. Always thought maybe the barrel length was a little too long, and it may look too long for some people, and it may look like a monstrous thing. But actually, this thing shoots really smooth. You know, I've shot it pretty far distances with it with the 44 special, not the Magnum, and hit the targets, and it was very surprising that it did that. You got the shoulder holster here for the 8 3/8. This one's a Bianchi. I'm left-handed, so it's really hard to find left-handed holsters for just about anything. But this one's similar to the Dirty Harry holster. Not exactly the one he had in the original, but this is more close to, like, say, the one he used in Sudden Impact. If you're familiar with that film, if you look carefully, he's wearing a shoulder holster a lot different than he did in the first movie. So this is more close to like what he had in that movie. It's got the elastic and everything. And the grips on the gun was another thing that kind of changed over time. And I noticed if you have a one, even the older ones still, like from the 80s and whatnot, I noticed they have this moon cut here. It's like it's a circular, half a circle cutout. I noticed that this is majority of what you find. I find it appealing to more or less have the one that just has like a divot. And his early films, like such as Magnum Force, you'll notice this is what he has. In fact, I think all of his films, I don't recall if he has a film that has the actual half circle, but this is pretty much the older configuration from what I know. I could be wrong, but I do know it's harder to find these. And on eBay and Gunbroker and whatnot, the grips for this thing has gotten extremely expensive. You're probably going to wind up paying $100 or more for a set or a pair, and that's just ridiculous. I can't believe that they've gone up that far. I've got a couple of 3 and 4 different pairs of this stuff anyway. But the 44 Magnum, it's just amazing. Here I have the original box, or one of the original boxes for the 8 3/8 one. It's just a cardboard box. This is pretty much what you get. The really nice wooden boxes are really nice. If you can get a hold of one of those, you can still buy those from Smith Wesson. But in the box, I have all the original paperwork. This is pretty neat. I mean, you've seen these a lot, you know, as far as the whole manual sheet and everything. It's really cool. You can always make a box, make a wooden box yourself, and I have a certain friend that's a carpenter. Maybe if he will kind of make me a box, maybe if I ask him nicely, maybe send him this video and he'll do it for me. Anyway, out of a mahogany plank, maybe, knock knock, maybe you can, I don't know, I have to send him this video, maybe he'll get the hint. Anyway, this thing here, the 44 special in the snub nose here with the aluminum frame. This thing, you'd be surprised. The 44 special with the aluminum here, the aluminum frame, it kicks. It has some recoil. You know you fired this thing. Not so much. It's really smooth to shoot it in these larger, you know, with the big heavy, you know, Model 29 frame. You throw a 44 special in this thing, it is really smooth to shoot. Really smooth. It's like shooting a 1911 and 45, just without all the, you know, the slide action. But it just, with the weight on these things, it really helps with that balance and recoil and everything, especially with the longer barrel on it. These are both 29-3s. And if you know anything about the little dashes behind the model numbers and everything, you'll know what I'm talking about. They're not pinned and recessed. They're a little bit after that, so we'll get into the differentiation of the 5-screw pinned and recessed and dash numbers in another Smith & Wesson video we'll do. But I just kind of wanted to bring you the Model 29. We got some speed loaders here. You know how that works. You load up all 6 rounds in there and you turn it and it locks them in, and so when you're going to go reload, You pop the cylinder, eject your extra rounds, put this in there, give it a turn, it'll drop all 6 in, and you just usually toss this. It is funny though, noted in the Dirty Harry series, only in Magnum Force is he actually really seen reloading his 44, mainly at the range and whatnot, when he's going to compete against the traffic control officers, which later on he finds that they are the vigilante killers. Sorry, I just gave away the movie if you haven't seen it. But anyway, just wanted to bring you the Smith & Wesson Model 29. If you have the 6-inch barrel or the big 8 3/8, I think they even make a 10. But the 8 3/8 is about as big and lengthy as I want to get. It's a monster. Also noted, if you've ever seen the movie Taxi Driver that came out in the 70s, that Robert De Niro's character Travis Bickle buys one of these things, and he walks into the hotel room, and that's the guy when he's buying the gun. He says, "You got a 44 Magnum?" And he says, "That's an expensive weapon." He says, "Well, that's okay. I got money." The guy pulls the thing out. He says, "It's a real monster," and it is. And he says, "You know, it'll stop an engine block at 100 yards." Is what the movie says. But yeah, who knows? That's just the movies, you know. Like he calls a magazine a clip. Anyway, but just kind of wanted to bring that to you. You know, just a little 44 Magnum talk and Model 29, and it's one of my favorite revolvers to shoot other than the single action army. I like the 44. I just shoot the special. I do not shoot the Magnums, mainly because of the wear on the gun. It does recoil a lot more when you shoot a Magnum, you can tell, but it will tax your cylinder. It will tax the gun, especially if you have a Smith & Wesson. Now, Ruger does make their Red Hawk or whatnot, and those things are built like a tank. They can handle many Magnum rounds. In fact, you probably will never wear that gun out, you know, as your time shooting it. I don't know about the local gun ranges actually rent them out. They may see a lot more wear on them, but they have double lockup systems and things like that. But anyway, just that's what I do at the range. I hand load my own 44 special rounds, so I do kind of don't push them up to the power factor of high spec stuff. So I like to custom load my own. Maybe I'll do a reloading video and show you guys a little bit about that. But just for now, just kind of wanted to talk about the Smith & Wesson Model 29. Keep watching, keep it posted, and please, hey, comment if you feel like it. Tell me, you know, if something else you want to see. I'm just starting out here on YouTube, and thanks to a certain one subscriber that subscribed to my channel, this pushed me to do this, and I believe you know who you are, my friend from France. Thank you very much.